Roads are often used as a metaphor for the journey of life. Crossroads, forks in the road, a road less traveled, all are phrases that refer to decisions, choices, and the path that people take in life. Gerald and Lois Loher not only traveled the road of life together, they literally created and built the very roads the rest of us travel on. It all began in the early years of Stevens County history. Gerald's grandfather, Servatius Loher, had one of the first road construction businesses in Stevens County. His son Ben, Gerald's father, continued with the Loher road construction business and involved all 7 of his sons at an early age. Jerry remembers his mother saying,
He said, Ben, you had 7 boys. He said, you got to get them boys out of here. You got to take them with you. So every day he'd load us up. He'd take us out to work with him.
Jerry, the youngest of the 6 boys at the time, was 5 when he began his career in road construction. He recalls working with 5 to 6 men that the county employed during the winter, and his dad employed for the summer. It was the 20s and the 30s, and it was tough. Sometimes the only words that were uttered by these men were 4-letter words. Horses were the power in the first couple decades of the 1900s. The business had 80-plus horses that the Loher boys harnessed every morning. Crawling underneath, behind, up and over these large animals as small boys would be conditions that OSHA would not approve today. The harnesses weighed about 80 pounds and the boys between 50 and 60 pounds. By 1935, more mechanization was used and Ben purchased 5 trucks. The youngest boys each got a truck. Jerry was about 8 years old and he was driving a construction truck. He had a wood block mounted on the floor pedal and another wood block on the seat, so he could reach the gas and see over the dashboard. The days began at 4 a.m. and ran until about 9 p.m. during the construction season, 6 days a week. Jerry recalls thinking, there has to be an easier way to make a living. But he didn't find it, and he found himself in the road construction business his entire career. Gerald August Loher was born to Bernard and Helen Menninger Loher on January 28, 1927, at his Stevens County farm home. His childhood was spent on the farm with a big garden, milk cows, and of course, the family business. There were 10 children in the family, 7 boys and 3 girls. When old enough to attend school, the children walked to St. Mary's in Morris. The parochial school was connected to the Assumption Catholic Church and provided education all the way to graduation. When Jerry had completed 10th grade, the school made a decision to close the final 2 years of school. Here was a major fork in the road. World War II was waging, so Jerry joined the Navy at 17. He had never been more than 20 miles from home prior to this. After training at the Great Lakes Navy Base, he continued at San Diego in the Hospital Corps School. He was assigned to the aircraft carrier USS Enterprise. This was one of 3 carriers that survived the war intact. This ship had more major activities of the war against Japan than any other ship. On 3 different occasions, the Japanese announced that the carrier had been sunk in battle, earning her the name the Gray Ghost, as she always reappeared. The carrier had left Pearl Harbor on a mission November 28, 1941, and was not at harbor when the attack was made on December 7, 1941. Gerald was not yet enlisted when Pearl Harbor was bombed. He was assigned to the carrier in 1943 until the war was over. For World War II service, the Enterprise received the Navy Unit Commendation, as well as 20 battle stars, making it the most highly decorated U.S. ship ever. After the war, the ship carried out a series of trips named Operation Magic Carpet, which brought more than 10,000 veterans home as their final service to the country. Across the Stevens County border in Grant County, Lois Loher Schmidt grew up. She was born July 12, 1930, to William and Amanda Blazing Schmidt. The family included 7 children who grew up near Herman. Lois went to school in Herman and graduated from the Herman High School. One evening in 1947, she was skating at the roller rink in Donnelly, Minnesota, when the road of possibilities opened up before her. Also enjoying an evening of fun was the handsome Gerald Loher from the B.J. Loher & Sons road building business. They began to see each other often and dated for the remainder of 1947, planning a spring 1948 wedding. On April 6, 1948, Gerald Loher and Lois Schmidt became Mr. and Mrs. Loher in a ceremony at the St. Charles Catholic Church of Herman. The road of life now included a loving partner for the journey. They filled their home in Morris with 9 children: Audrey, Deborah, Bill, Joni, Helen, Tim, Jerry Jr., Pat, and Rick. Feeling that a home in the country would suit their needs better, they purchased a farm site just south of the airport. This became the home base for family growing up, as well as the business. Gerald purchased the business, and the new name was Gerald Loher Construction. The building of roads for citizens to travel continued another 35 to 40 plus years under Gerald's ownership. In 1985, enough road building had occurred and the Lohers retired to enjoy travel on many roads themselves. Moving to Morris, they quickly fixed their new home to fit their retirement and grandparent life. In the winters, they spent several months traveling where the roads were less snow-covered. Unknown to the children, they had purchased a cabin on Lake Pelican, which they now unveiled to the family. It became a wonderful gathering place for the generations. Summers were spent fishing, boating, laughing, and doing building projects. A defining principle for Lois and Jerry was how important families are. The cabin provided a space to enjoy family. While the family was growing up, Jerry and Lois filled all the usual parenting roles. Jerry ran the business, and Lois ran the home. The needs of the 9 children and all of their activities was a full-time job. As those responsibilities eased, Lois took a part-time job at the local Ernst shop. This was a location where she became known to many while they picked out china and made plans for weddings. The shop included accessories and fashion items. She always greeted you with an enduring, "Hi, honey." They both were leaders in the Assumption Catholic Church and St. Mary's School. Jerry served on the boards, and Lois was always ready to serve on the ladies' activities and missions. Gerald was a Knights of Columbus Grand Knight. This Catholic fraternal organization holds the principles of charity, unity, fraternity, and patriotism. The family business of road construction was not the only building that they supported. On the west side of Morris, a very needed facility, a nursing home, was begun under the leadership of Ben Loher. When Ben retired from the board, Gerald then served for over 45 years. He saw this facility through growth and transitions. Jerry volunteered for 13 years on the Morris Fire Department. He engaged in county-wide leadership, running for Stevens County Commissioner. He served in this role for 12 years. He became a strong voice for the Stevens County Historical Society. He enthusiastically supported their restoration and addition to that space and mission. He also advocated for the RFC Fitness Center. One of Jerry's favorite leadership roles was for the Morris Flying Club. He was a charter member, organizing this group in 1952. He got his license and flew for 35 years. He loved to fly. Eventually, he pursued and obtained his commercial license, but a heart attack prevented its use. As county commissioner, he made sure the airport was a functional and safe asset to the county, supporting updates and safety requirements. Lois and Jerry continued to make work a hobby as retirees. Most importantly, they enjoyed grandchildren and great-grandchildren. They were proud of their children's leadership and work ethic. These were values they role modeled in their own lives. In Jerry's words,
be community-minded. I was born and raised here in Stevens County, and I've been all over this world, and I've never found a place any better than Morris, Minnesota, or Stevens County.
Now their children and grandchildren were on this road of life. Lois baked and cooked for enjoyment. Jerry pursued woodworking and stained glass work. His projects were so beautiful that they became prize auction items and gifts to organizations and causes that he found worthy.